My mom went through all these periods. Catering, painting, self-help. She was searching for her element. And watching her, I found mine. Elizabeth Payne knew what she wanted to be when she was 4 years old. Not because someone told her, because she watched someone searching. Her mother went through phases. Catering for a couple of years. Then painting. Then self-help. Constantly exploring. Constantly trying new things. Never quite finding the thing. When Elizabeth was 4 or 5, her mom entered the painting phase. Taking art classes. Then teaching them. And Elizabeth would go with her. And while her mother searched for her element, Elizabeth found hers. I was always drawing. I thought artists were really cool, and I wanted to be like them. I knew I wanted to be an artist from the time I was a little kid, 4 years old, in a tiny village in southern Ohio, watching her mother explore, and discovering her own path in the process. But knowing what you want and finding the path to get there are two very different things. This is the story of a girl who knew she was an artist, and then discovered she was also a costume designer, and then discovered she was also a teacher. 3 talents, hidden inside one person, revealed one at a time, through accident, through crisis, through exposure. They told her, at best, you'll be a high school art teacher, maybe paint on the side. In a small town, dreams get small. Growing up in southern Ohio, Elizabeth loved art. Only art, nothing else called to her. But in a tiny village, people do not encourage big artistic dreams. They told her, at best, you might become a high school art teacher. Maybe do a little painting on the side. That is the realistic path. Elizabeth was okay with this, because art was all she ever loved. If high school art teacher was the way to stay connected to art, she would take it. Then her art teacher had a heart attack and was away from school for the rest of the year. The replacement was a substitute, unqualified in art, not even authorized to grade projects. For someone with Elizabeth's aspirations, this was devastating. She was losing the one connection to her path that existed in the entire town. But sometimes crisis creates opportunity. An English teacher looked at Elizabeth's drawings and was so impressed that she entered Elizabeth into an art competition at a local college. That decision changed everything. The competition was in costume design, something I knew nothing about, but my art skills aligned perfectly. I won, all 4 years. The competition was in costume design. Elizabeth knew nothing about costume design. She was an artist, a drawer, a painter, but she entered anyway and discovered something she had no idea was inside her. Her skills in art aligned beautifully with the talents necessary to be a good costume designer. She had an aptitude for it, so much aptitude that she won the competition. Not once, for years in a row. Every year she entered, she won. And more importantly, she loved it. She loved doing it so much that she decided to study costume design in college and to make it her career if she could. But here is what is remarkable. Elizabeth did not know this talent existed until she was exposed to it. She had the aptitude the entire time, waiting, hidden, undiscovered, and it only revealed itself because an English teacher entered her into a competition in something she had never tried. One exposure, one competition, one discovery, the first of 3. I sewed buttons all summer, then more buttons. I learned shopping, dyeing, creating what you need when you can't get it. I learned theater from the ground up. Elizabeth applied to colleges with art departments, but costume design programs are in theater departments. Once she figured that out, she was on her way. I knew I could draw very well and that this was an asset. But in the program, they made it very clear that I needed to know how to sew, and I needed to know how to tell people what I wanted them to make. So she learned, from the ground up. First job, outdoor theater in North Carolina, sewing labels and buttons. All summer. Then a costume designer internship in Massachusetts. Learning about shopping, sources, how you have to go out to find what you need, how to dye fabric, how to create what you need when you cannot get it. Next, Santa Fe Opera, sewing more buttons, learning about singers, personality types, how to think really quickly when something goes wrong. She had never had theater experience before this, so she needed to understand everything and her place in it. College degree, graduate degree, Manhattan theater world, and then the second discovery. I worked with producers. I realized the story wasn't important to them. just getting a show on Broadway. I'm not a for-profit theater person. Manhattan, working with small theater companies, learning the industry, and discovering something important. I'm not a for-profit theater person. I do not like working with producers. I got the feeling that the story was not important to them. It was mostly about getting a show on Broadway. My feeling was that if the story was not good, it did not matter how much money you threw at costumes or sets. This is a different kind of discovery. Not what you are good at, what you value. Elizabeth had the skills to work in for-profit theater. She could have built a career there, but it did not align with what mattered to her. So she pivoted to nonprofits, which usually means schools. She sent her resume to colleges. And because some of her work had been with universities, several colleges assumed she had teaching experience. One offered her a classroom position. I just went with it. And that decision led to the third discovery. I didn't think I'd ever be able to teach anybody. Then I found out I was good at something I hadn't considered before. I was a born teacher. Elizabeth Payne became a teacher without intending to. She took the classroom position because it was offered, because it aligned with nonprofit work, because it was available. And then she found out she was good at something she had never considered before. She was a born teacher. Her ability as a teacher came from a natural aptitude for helping people learn, combined with her professional expertise in her field. When I entered costume design, I did not think I would ever be able to teach anybody. And I feel like because of the professional experiences I have had, I'm a good teacher. I'm not just teaching theory. I'm teaching them what it is like to be out there. This is the third discovery, the one she never saw coming. Artist, costume designer, teacher, 3 aptitudes, all hidden inside one person, each one revealed only through exposure. Now professor of costume design at Fresno State, teaching students what she learned by doing. Is it possible to have more than one element? Of course. Your aptitudes mature. Your interests change. New paths reveal themselves. Here is what Elizabeth Payne's story teaches us. You're not one thing. You can have more than one element. Your aptitudes may evolve over time, as your talents mature, as your interests change, as you are exposed to new experiences. Elizabeth knew she was an artist at 4 years old. That was real. That was true. But she did not know she was a costume designer until she entered a competition at 16. And she did not know she was a teacher until she took a classroom position in her 30s. 3 aptitudes, all real, all hidden until exposure revealed them. Your personal aptitudes may also move you into related fields. Art became costume design. Costume design became teaching. One path led to another. Each discovery built on what came before. And this is the pattern for most people. You do not discover everything at once. You discover it layer by layer. Through experience, through exposure, through trying things you have never tried. You may have talents you don't know you have. They're waiting for exposure, for the competition, for the accident, for the opportunity. Elizabeth Payne discovered some of her aptitudes when she was very young. She went on to discover others that she had not even suspected she had. You are the same. Right now, you have aptitudes you do not know you have. Talents that are hidden, waiting for exposure. Maybe you know one of them. Like Elizabeth knew she was an artist, but you do not know the others. The costume design, the teaching, the things you're naturally good at that you have never tried. They only reveal themselves when you expose yourself to new experiences. When you enter the competition, when you take the job, when you say yes to the thing you have never done. Your element can evolve. Your path can branch. You can be multiple things, but only if you expose yourself to the experiences that reveal what is hidden. Do not assume you know all your talents. You do not. There are more inside you, waiting. Go find them.